Well, hi folks, today is Wednesday, March 6, 2013, and yesterday we had some problems, technical difficulties like everybody says. We had a blackout around this area, and while I was transmitting live, for those of you who were watching, and the power outage lasted till like about almost 8 o'clock in the morning, so I was unable to continue to broadcast. But today we're going to redo that show and talk about the same thing that we talked about yesterday. Since I don't have any viewers yet, well, it doesn't matter. We're just going to redo it anyway so we can put that video on YouTube. Well, yesterday we were talking about marijuana, and something we were talking about was Washington and Colorado states that legalize weed. And let me tell you, for those who don't know and talk about negatively about the marijuana use in the country. Now, marijuana is an herb, also known as cannabis, which is a politically correct name, and we've got here 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 states who use medical marijuana, and 7 states are likely to legalize marijuana. The first 2 states were Washington, I believe, December 12th of 2012, and Colorado, who legalized it. It went effect in January 5th of this year. Now, they already, I believe they already had marijuana as medical marijuana was legal. So let me mention the other ones. The most famous one that we already know that uses marijuana as a medical use, and it's California, because everybody knows that in California they farm a lot of marijuana up in the mountains, and some of the best marijuana comes from California. Whether everybody thinks that all the marijuana comes from, some people think Colombia, and mostly no, it comes from Mexico, from the cartels. And a lot of people die from marijuana. Not from marijuana use, but they die because marijuana is not the one that kills them. It's the cartels that kill people and all the drug dealers because of marijuana. Okay, here is an article. According to the drug war fact, the answer to people that die caused by marijuana, that marijuana causes death, is note. Okay, here we go. Give me 1 second. It's not working, people. But anyways, okay, here we go. It says, how many deaths are due to marijuana? That's the questions. The answer is, this question has been hotly contended, and unfortunately a lot of the contention relates to the fact and theories that have nothing to do with the question itself. The number of traffic deaths to marijuana, while interesting, is not what this question asks. As such, I've deleted parts of the answer that don't apply to this question, specifically those who wish to take this further and encourage to start a new question. According to the drug fact, the answer is 0. An exhaustive search of the literature finds no credible reports of death induced by marijuana. The U.S. Drug Abuse Warning Network, DAWN, records instances of drug mentions in medical examiner reports, and though marijuana is mentioned, it is usually in combination with alcohol or other drugs. Marijuana has not been shown to cause any overdose death. Anyways, going back to the states. The states that have medical marijuana in use are Alaska, Hawaii, California. Like I said, California is the most popular state. You know, all the marijuana, the hydro, what is called is a crossbreed of marijuana plants to make a super powerful marijuana. A lot of them come from California, and that's another state. Alaska, Hawaii, California, Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, Washington, Montana, Colorado, Michigan, Vermont, Maine, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, and Washington, D.C., people, the capital of the United States, where all the government and all the power is at, including Washington and Colorado, that have legalized marijuana for recreational use. Everybody can carry up to an ounce. Everybody. Now, here are some of the states who we think are gonna legalize marijuana for recreational use. Oregon, California, Nevada, Rhode Island, Maine, Alaska, Vermont. Now, let's see another article here. Okay. Here we go. Safer choice. To say that marijuana has been given a bad rap over the past few decades is an understatement. If you, like most Americans, you have been led to believe that marijuana is a dangerous and addictive drug. That has destroyed the lives of millions of teens and adults. You have been encouraged to believe that marijuana causes lung cancer and is a gateway to harder drugs. The government has even tried to convince you that most people who use marijuana are losers who sit around the couches all day doing nothing. What we would like to do is wipe the slate clean and start over. Forget everything you have heard in the past and be open-minded to the truth about marijuana. We are not here to tell you that it is without harms or is in some kind of miracle drug. We simply hope you will come to understand that it is far, far less harmful than what your government has told you. Part of the problem is that many people are simply unfamiliar with marijuana. They have never tried it, or perhaps only tried it, a time or two decades ago, and assume the worst. They have been conditioned to think that marijuana use is bad and that people who use it are dangerous or strange or maybe even dirty. They have visions of people using marijuana and being totally zonked out, unable to maintain a regular conversation. I have seen shows on TV where kids use marijuana and they see visions. That is crazy. You do not see visions. You do not hallucinate. That is a bunch of bullshit. Has anybody seen that 70s show? Thank you. The truth is that marijuana is widely used in a manner quite similar to alcohol. We're not going to get into alcohol right now, but let me tell you, adults might consume it before enjoying a dinner party with friends. Friends might have a little before engaging in a spirited game of ultimate frisbee. And spouses, yes, even some couples will, might imbibe a bit while enjoying a romantic evening together. Concert goers have even known to have a puff or two before or during a show, which more likely than not results in them dancing or otherwise enjoying the music, not lying on the ground like lumps. None of this is bad or wrong or immoral. It's simply something that these responsible adults choose to do, and frequently, and it is something they choose to do specifically instead of alcohol, and for good reason. Alcohol is more toxic, more addictive, more harmful to the body, more likely to result in injuries, and more likely to lead to interpersonal violence than marijuana. I would love for everybody to call, if possible. I know this is going to be technically show number 6, but we're going to call it show number 5 because last night our show was canceled due to a power outage, to a big blackout. But call me 210-818-9694. 210-818-9694. Safer for the consumer. Many people die from alcohol use. Nobody dies from marijuana use. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, reports that more than 37,000 annual U.S. deaths, including more than 1,400 in Colorado, are attributed to alcohol use alone. I.e., this figure does not include accidental deaths. On the other hand, the CDC has not even have a category for deaths caused by marijuana use. They don't even have a category. People die from alcohol overdose. There has never been a fatal marijuana overdose. The official publication of Scientific Research Society, American Scientists, reported that alcohol is one of the most toxic drugs, and using just 10 times what one will use to get the desired effect could lead to death. Marijuana is one of, if not the least toxic drugs, and they keep using the word drug. It is not a drug, requiring thousands of times the dose one will use to get the desired effect to lead to death. This thousands of times is actually theoretical, since there has never been a case of an individual dying from marijuana overdose. Meanwhile, according to the CDC, hundreds of alcohol overdose deaths occur in the United States every year. Okay, yes, I can hear you already saying, don't believe everything the internet says. But tell me, what has the the TV shows say? What do the news say? Do you ever hear anybody says today, breaking news, another pothead kills on a high while driving another driver? Never. When have you go to a strip where there's clubs and just sit outside just before 2 o'clock and tell me how many fights have you seen? Somebody from Amsterdam and the Netherlands, call me please and tell me, or if you're visiting the Netherlands or Amsterdam, sit outside those pot smoking cafes and tell me how many fights do you see? None. The health-related costs associated with alcohol use far exceeds those of marijuana use. Alcohol use damages the brain. Marijuana use does not. Despite myths we've heard throughout our lives about marijuana killing brain cells, it turns out that a growing number of studies seems to indicate that marijuana actually has neuroprotective properties. This means, for those of you who don't know what neuroprotective means, I certainly don't. This means that it works to protect brain cells from harm. For example, one recent study found that teens who use marijuana as well as alcohol suffer significantly less damage to the white matter in their brains. Of course, what is beyond question is that alcohol damages the brain cells. That does damage your brain. So all those beer buddies that you have, the people that drink beer every day, they're missing some brain cells. Alcohol use is linked to cancer. Marijuana use is not. Alcohol is more addictive than marijuana. Alcohol use increases the risk of injury to the consumer. Marijuana use does not. Safer than community. Alcohol use contributes to aggressive and violent behavior. Marijuana does not. Studies have repeatedly shown that alcohol, unlike marijuana, contributes to the likelihood of aggressive and violent behavior. The article published in the Journal of Addictive Behaviors reported that alcohol is clearly the drug with the most evidence to support a direct intoxication-violent relationship, whereas cannabis reduces the likelihood of violence during intoxication. Alcohol use is a major factor in violent crimes. Marijuana use is not. Alcohol use contributes to the likelihood of domestic abuse and sexual assault. Marijuana use does not. Let's go here and that's by alcohol. Let me show you right here. Death by alcohol. I already looked this up yesterday, but annual causes of death in the United States. I'm going to show you right here. You click, and this is Get the Facts, drugwarfacts.org. This is annual causes of death in the United States. On the very top is all causes of death in 2009. It was 437,167. The number one cause of death in America in 2009 was disease of the heart. A little over 500,000 people died of it. And it goes down: malignant neoplasm, chronic lower respiratory disease, cerebrovascular disease, lack of health insurance. Imagine that. In 2005, 44,789 people died because of lack of health insurance. Unbelievable. Drug overdose, 2010, 38,329. And as you go, alcohol induced, 24,518. And let me just let me just, and if you can go, I mean, even HIV people, there's HIV infected infections are less than alcohol induced. You know, that's almost 10,000. That's no, that is what more 15,000 more less than alcohol. And on the very bottom, you can see right there is on the screen. What does it say? Cannabis. In parentheses, marijuana. 0 people. 0. 0. And I was not even looking for marijuana. I was looking for, let's go back on the page, and in the very Google search it says deaths by alcohol. I mean, we don't want to even get into tobacco. You know, tobacco is getting hammered. You know, tobacco products are getting hammered. They're losing money. They're losing clients. And let me tell you, if you go to the clubs, you have these people. They are going around, getting your information, giving cigarettes away. You know how these guys look like? But with a license. I mean, we're talking about with a license. These guys are like the old drug dealers from the 80s who would go and give you the first dose for free. They would give these children a dose of crack, a dose of, you know, they would give them a small rock, and so they can smoke it, and they would love it, and they would come back and get it. That's what these guys are going to the people that don't smoke in the bars, because, you know, where I live and in many areas where you live, they don't allow you to smoke in the bars anymore. You have to go to designated areas or get the hell outside and smoke. You know, the clubs smell better. They're cleaner. And you don't go and snore during the night because all that smoke affected you, you know. So, now, these guys go around the bar with their little computer. They get in your information. And they give you a pack of cigarettes for free, of these new Marlboros, whatever, Camels, whatever they're doing, you know. And they give you, I don't know, like a USB, a keychain, a bottle opener. They give you free stuff. And they look like drug dealers. Because that's what they are. They're drug dealers with a license, people. With a license. And they have these girls going over there with some, you know, half naked, going around the bar, giving you shots of tequila, shots of all these drinks, and you know they look pretty, they look you know, hot, and they give you these shots, and then you drink it, and now they're hooking you up, they're hooking you on alcohol, and those are drug dealers too, you know, with a license. And alcohol and cigarettes kill more people than you can ever imagine. Lots of people. When prohibition was around, they were right on the spot. They should have kept it that way. But how can you stop something that is so powerful and is so addictive and is going to give you money all the time? So now you go and pay for around 10,000, 15,000, depends where you live, for a license to sell alcohol. $2,000-3,000 to sell beer. You know, a cup, $1,500 to sell cigarettes. You know, and it's a big business. I stopped smoking over a year ago. I'll be going on 2 this August of non-smoking anymore. You know, I drink occasionally, but I stopped drinking for my family. I stopped drinking to give an example to my children. I stopped drinking because I didn't want my kids to say, hey, you know, You're drunk. All you do is drink, you go out and do this. I stopped smoking because I didn't want my children to see me smoking and want to do or mock me or do what I'm doing. Smoking is cool, you know. I want to see, you know, I maybe should have done it years ago, but I didn't. But, you know, it's never too late. And I did. And I have my baby boy, Eloy. He's 3 years old. I don't want, you know, I don't want him to grow up and tell me, well, you smoke. Why can't I? I want to set an example for our children. But that's besides the point. Let's keep talking about what we were talking. Let's keep talking about marijuana. Now, marijuana kills a lot of people. Yes. Well, it's not marijuana. It's the people that sell the marijuana, because I've seen it over and over, how a couple of guys go rob another guy out of 10 pounds, 5 pounds, you know, 2-3 pounds, a couple of $100 of marijuana. You know, marijuana makes a lot of money. Just here in southern Texas, or, you know, around Houston, San Antonio, those big cities in Texas, you know, if you bring up there 10,000 pounds of marijuana, which that's what they do. They put them in semis, they load them up, they put some stuff in the front, and they hope to get lucky and they don't get checked in the checkpoint. Not every truck gets checked when you go through those checkpoints. Let's say you make it through with 10,000 pounds, and let's say that each pound costs $300 in Houston, in Dallas, in San Antonio, which it probably costs more, you know. It probably costs more because around these parts, an ounce of marijuana is $50. Let's see. Let's see, 16 ounces to a pound times $50. You're talking about $800 right there, buddy. If you got a pound for $300, you just made yourself $500. $500. $500. That's big business. Big business. You know, 10,000 pounds at $300. You're talking about $3 million. You know what Colorado and Washington did? They stopped that nonsense. They stopped all those murders, those killings. You know how? They legalized marijuana. Now anybody can have an ounce of marijuana. You can go buy it. There's places where you can, as a place of business, where you can sell it. You know why? Well, you can have your own plants at home, but why buy it when you can have it at home? Well, they make it a little bit profitable for business to sell the best marijuana out there. Because even if you are good, you know, a pot smoker, you're not gonna take care of your plants like somebody that's in business for it. They let you have 6 plants in Colorado, 3 mature ones and 3 not mature ones. So you know, once you know what I'm saying, so you can have 6 plants. But if you run out, you can go buy at the store. It's free. It grows in the ground. You know, it's from nature. I mean, why do people have to die over it? Now, if everybody can have plants, Why are you gonna go rob and kill your neighbor for plants when you can plant your own? You know. And also, there's a clause there that you can give away up to an ounce to somebody else as long as you don't use it for profit. You're okay. You know, it's legal in Colorado. It's legal in Washington, and everybody's happy about it. The government of the United States wanted to okay, what, let me see what I can find right here. Well, anyways, the president said, and the federal government wanted to sue these countries and contend or challenge these countries, these states, but it hasn't happened. They just putting it off, and they're putting it off, and even President Obama says that he's got bigger fish to fry than to arrest pot smokers for 1 ounce of marijuana. It's not even, there's not even a crime to have an ounce of marijuana. It's a misdemeanor. What is the rest of the country waiting for? You know how big and how hard you will hurt the cartels by legalizing marijuana? The elected president of Mexico, Enrique Peña Nieto, said to Obama that he didn't believe that he let those states legalize marijuana. He said that changed all his game plan to fight drug trafficking. Yes, it changed your game plan because you're not going to make any more money, Mr. Peña Nieto. If you legalize marijuana in America, then where is the cartels going to go sell it to? I mean, why do you want your people dying over some bullshit weed when you can farm and have the best weed in the world here in America? The biggest pot smokers are in America, people. And they grow the best pot in the world. They crossbreed all these plants, and they just have the best pot in the world. Now, I'm not saying the wheat in Mexico is good if they would grow it properly, but they grow it as fast as they can, cut it down as fast as they can, and put it and ship it to the United States as fast as they can so they can make money. So, therefore, is bullshit wheat because they don't take care of their wheat. Because they're growing it, they're hiding from the government to grow it. In fact, Mr. Peña Nieto should eat his words, because in Mexico City it's legal to carry, I think, up to 6 grams of marijuana. Something like that. 10 grams. Because they were tired of the drug dealing, and because in Mexico City there are a bunch of pot smokers too. Probably Mr. Peña Nieto himself smoked pot in his early years. Who knows how many government senators or presidents. I think I heard sometime that George Bush smoked marijuana or used cocaine or something. I think I heard it. Don't quote me on that, federal government. This is just a hearsay. But I'm pretty sure that some senators or House representatives, past presidents, vice presidents, cabinet staff, lawyers, doctors, they all smoke pot. Not all of them, but some smoke pot during their years in college, to concentrate on studying. I've heard many stories about people smoking weed for that matter. Now, deaths in drug war in Mexico. He says nearly 60,000 people died in the drug war under Felipe Calderón. Organized crime related violence has claimed 57,449 lives in Mexico during the presidency of Felipe Calderón, whose 6-year term ends on December 1st. It already ended. And that's the ones that they know about. Okay, Cuban medicine killed Hugo Chavez. After Hugo Chavez's death, meet successors Nicolas Maduro. Venezuela. Oh, by the way, Hugo Chavez, the president of Venezuela, died today around 4:30 p.m. You know, my condolences for the Chavez family. By the way, you know, he was a strong, you know, he was against the U.S. government. He was a socialist, and I believe that people that talk, for example, about my family or your family, that are outside your family, have no business giving their input in there, because they don't know you, and they don't live there, and they don't know anything. Venezuela expelled two U.S. diplomats. The vice president claims that Hugo Chavez was poisoned. People say that the Cuban medicine killed Chavez, and well, to his country, he was a good president. It's like in any country, many oppose Obama, many oppose Bush, many oppose Clinton, Carter, Nixon, Reagan, you name it. So the people who talk about Chavez in this country, I believe they don't know anything about Chavez, and they think they knew. There was just not in their best interest. That's why they hated Chavez. Now, he won the election. Anybody can say, oh yes, he robbed the election. Okay, whatever. They say Bush robbed the election to what was that guy's name? Oh yeah, Al Gore. That guy. But okay, everybody loved Bush because of the war. Everybody loved Obama because he's cutting taxes or whatever, taxing the rich. Blah 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 blah. Anyways, my condolences to the Chavez family and to the people of Venezuela for their great loss. I mean, for their for their loss, you know, of their great president, because that's what he was to them. It was a great president to them, and he was a great president to a lot of the Central and South American countries and from the Caribbean. And their conspiracy theories or accusations, they don't matter anymore, because a great man has fallen. And not that I'm his admirer. I do follow him on Twitter, but he was just controversial, and you know, he was just a character, you know. Hugo Chavez Farias, I believe is his full name. Uh, uh, you know, so yes, Hugo Rafael Chavez Frias, my apologies, was the president of Venezuela, having held the position since from 1999 until his death in 2013. So, almost 13 years. He was born in 1954 and died today in Caracas. His spouse, Marisabel Rodriguez de Chavez, Nancy Colmenares. Well, anyways, Chavez is gone, and now they have a vice president. I believe they're going to call for some elections. I believe, I'm not sure. But well, Chavez is gone. Good man, I think. That guy. A lot of people are happy he died. A lot more people are sad he did. He just didn't want to sell out his oil. You know, he wasn't a sellout. You know, he didn't want all this. Well, never mind. We'll talk about Hugo Chavez another day. Continuing with our subject today. Weed, marijuana, pot, Mary Jane. 210-818-9694, 210-818-9694. Monday through Friday at 4:30 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. Central Time. Check us out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Fernando Live Show, and like us on on Facebook with the page with the same name, Fernando Live Show, and follow us on livestream.com/Fernando Live Show. Follow us on Twitter. We are on Twitter at Fernando_FLS. At Fernando_FLS. We might change that Twitter address later, but let's see what we got. I don't have enough followers yet to get a username, but we are at 20 likes, and we need 5 more likes on Facebook, and well. But anyways, that's what we're talking about. Marijuana, Mary Jane. Smoke it, love it, and enjoy it in Washington, in California, where it's legal. Don't do it anywhere else in the United States, because you will go to jail. So Um, why doesn't the federal government makes it legal? We don't know yet. But what can I say? I mean, something that we can talk about in the marijuana subject is that Chavez is all over the news. Marijuana, is it harmful? Is it not harmful? What is going on with this? Well, there's not much else to say about marijuana, but to simply, if governments from some states are taking the use of marijuana and legalizing for recreational use, then there's something to it. These people are educated people. They're not drug dealers. They're just trying to make it safe for everybody. And they might be right on some things. So how about we support them, people? Let's support them. And if they don't legalize marijuana, then just go live in Colorado and Washington State. How about that? Whoever tells you that marijuana kills your brain cells probably drinks, and they're getting their brain cells killed by consuming alcohol. Alcohol is the real killer. Tobacco is the real killer, and they're legal. Why is marijuana illegal? Zero deaths. Zero deaths from marijuana consumption. Over 30, 40, 50,000 deaths by alcohol use, not including alcohol-related accidents. And now we're not talking about DWIs. We're talking about fires and all kinds of alcohol use. We also we know there's a lot of use for marijuana. You can make clothes, you can make cars, you can make furniture, you can use it for dieting. They use it for cancer patients so they can get hungry. Yeah, the only thing that you have to worry about if you smoke marijuana, guess what? You better lock the fridge before you roll and smoke that joint, because your ass is gonna be without food when you get down from that big ass high that you're gonna get. Advice, tip, whatever you want to call it. Side effects from marijuana: zero side effects. Oh wait, I take that back. number one and only side effect of marijuana is that you're gonna eat the shit out of all the food that you have in your fridge. That's what I have to say. Jimmy Carter's people. Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter says something about marijuana. Let's see. Jimmy Carter's input on marijuana. Can't believe Jimmy Carter's still alive. And this is from HuffPost Politics. Let me get this video going. Hear it from Jimmy Carter himself. Okay, here we go.
Well, that's what Jimmy Carter has been trying to say. During his term as president, Carter supported marijuana decriminalization in the mid-'70s, and now he's giving a full-throated endorsement to legalizing it.
When I was president in 1979, I made my definitive speech about drugs, and I called for the decriminalization of marijuana. This was in 1979.
During his term as president, Carter supported marijuana decriminalization in the mid-'70s, and now he's giving a full-throated endorsement to legalizing it.
When I was president in 1979, I made my definitive speech about drugs, and I called for the decriminalization of marijuana. This was in 1979. Not for the legalization, but for the decriminalization, to keep people from being put in prison just because they were smoking a marijuana cigarette. And I pointed out that nobody should be punished worse for smoking a cigarette than the cigarette would be to them if they smoked it. But now we have, for every person who was in prison when I went out of office in 1981, there are 8 Americans now in prison. And most of those Americans who are in prison, and most of those Americans who are executed with the death penalty, are African American or Hispanic or other minorities, and also people who have a mental problem. You cannot imagine a white male man who has money being executed. So the death penalty in America and putting everybody in prison because they have marijuana is a very major step backward, and it ought to be reversed, not only in America but around the world.
I think he's an important voice because he's sort of seen the whole thing play out. He's a strong supporter of the entire effort to decriminalize it in the 70s, and he's been an important voice for reforming the penal code and the prison system. So I think he'll be an important voice for that. I'm not sure how much say he'll actually have in any sort of legislative efforts, but he's an important advocate for that issue. So as far as that goes, he'll have some say there. There were reports earlier this year that he would sort of scale back the war on drugs and shift away from a very enforcement-heavy sort of prohibition approach. Haven't been any real inklings that there's been any progress on that, but people are hoping. I think advocates for pot policy reform are not very hopeful, but there's definitely hope that as this becomes a more mainstream discussion, that he'll sort of be forced to take a different stance on it.
It is funny. Carter is one of the worst presidents. Only W and O are below him as far as modern presidents go. But Carter was right about pot and energy. You know, Carter does get a pretty bad rap most of the time when we talk about his legacy.
So I think he gets a bad rap for a fair amount of things in general, but certainly he was a leading voice on that, and I think it'll be helpful to have his voice continuing to sort of speak out in favor of these more progressive views on incarceration and focusing on addiction and sort of away from the very traditional what has been enforcement and putting people in jail for possession and stuff like that.
Well, there you go, people. From Jimmy Carter himself. They call him one of the worst presidents, but, you know, he's right. Why are you going to put somebody in jail for smoking pot? Come on, people. It's just pot. That was HuffSpot live. And, you know, whoa, free ad, let's get it off. They should just, you know, just let people smoke pot. You know, it's not like people are, you know, pot is not addictive. Don't ask me why. I'll tell you later. Call us at 210-818-9694. 210-818-9694. We're here Monday through Friday, 4:30 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. And this is a talk show about everything, anything and everything goes. We are not here to be shy, you know. We are not here to cover up for nobody. We are not CNN, ABC, CBS, Fox. We are not those people that cover up the news and don't tell the story like it is. You know, this is a new talk show. This is your host. Fernando is your host, and I will tell you everything that is going on. I will not hide it, and we will not be blacked out. We will find a way to tell you the truth and nothing but the truth. We are live Monday through Friday, 4:30 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. You know, look us up on YouTube and subscribe to our channel on youtube.com/Fernando Live Show. Follow us on livestream.com/Fernando Live Show. Follow us on Twitter at Fernando_FLS. Fernando Live Show. At Fernando_FLS. And we have a page on Facebook that like us on Facebook. And I will put the subscription to get into that page today, and follow that link and like us on Facebook. So we have run out of time. The hour is up. And again, my condolences for the Chavez Frias family and for Venezuela and their loss of their president. Don't forget, people, and come join me every day. And I will see you tomorrow at the same time. So thank you very much for watching, And I'll see you next time.